The time is now 3:32. I call into order the meeting of the Public Safety and Emergency Services Committee. A copy of the agenda for this meeting may be found on the county website under the tab for the legislature. Please silence your phones and electronic devices. And at this time, I ask you please to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anyway, we'll just so I'd like to welcome everybody. We have a full house today. Welcome. So first item on our agenda today, from County Executive Stephen Newhouse, a request confirmation of reappointments and appointments to the Orange County Fire. Oh, sorry about it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Carrie Ann, please take the roll call.
Carter. Present. Essig.
Present.
Fagion. Here. Ramos. Here. Ravello.
Here.
Skevich.
Here.
DeGanga. Turnbull. Scaldi.
Here.
2 absent.
Thank you. Anyway, so as I was saying, we have a request confirmation of reappointments and appointments to the Orange County Fire Advisory Board. Individuals' names: K. Duggan, H. Hunt, G. Ferguson, T. Sullivan, M. Rowe, P. Graham, D. LeBeau, Glenn, sorry if I mispronounced that, B. Petrick, D. Smith, T. Reynolds, and P. Puller. Legislative request number 032.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Barry, the floor is yours.
Yes, I'm here for the county executive today. These appointments have been made by the county executive. They require the confirmation of the legislature. There are 9 battalions, fire battalions in Orange County, and then there's 3 cities. So there are 21 members total, and there are 2 from each battalion and 1 from the cities. And they are in staggered terms, their terms, and the names and terms are listed. Some are appointments, some are reappointments.
Harry, out of the ones, just for my clarification, because these are not folks I'm very familiar with at all, to be honest with you. Which ones are appointments and which ones are reappointments?
There should be a sheet on the in the packet.
On the back. It says it on here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And on the right-hand side, you'll see it's the reappointment.
Carrie, can we get that? Yeah, it should be in the.
Attached to the legislative
We don't
request.
have, yeah, we just have.
So you wanted to know there was, according to this 1 appointment and the rest are reappointments.
Okay.
There's 2 more appointments on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, so it's 3 appointments and the rest of it.
The ones on the bottom are for 1 year because they're replacing people who have stepped off the board this year.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any questions from my colleagues?
How are these appointments selected?
The battalions make recommendations to the county executive makes the appointment. I guess you could call it peer review.
So there, so it's one within house, it's not anyone else. It's already people that are already working in the fire station.
Yes. They were recommended by the fire station.
The open fire defense.
Yes.
all the time.
Peer review.
I guess my only hesitancy is I haven't really had an opportunity to speak to or meet any of these individuals. I did reach out to Executive Steve Newhouse the other day. I know he's away on military affairs.
Commander Newhouse.
Commander Newhouse, excuse me. The only thing that gives me pause is just I would like more time just to meet these individuals and get a sense of who they are. I know we have the resumes, but I would like more time. Would it be something that if we were to put a hold on this, would it affect business?
I think you'd have to see it go through, and you have time between now and the legislative committee meeting to do those interviews if you want to do them. I would ask that you put it on, and then take the time between now and the meeting to call people up if you want. And if you don't want to vote for them, you don't have to. I wouldn't hold the business to wait for interviews. I would say
What business would be held up?
the work of the committee.
And I guess the question for me is what exactly would those items be?
Okay.
Advisory board meeting or something?
No, well, I'll tell you what the Constitution and the bylaw says about what their duties are.
Okay.
Okay, the purpose of the Orange County Fire Advisory Board is to promote the fire service through assistance to the county fire coordinator and the New York State Division of Fire Safety, Fire Prevention and Control. The board shall act as an advisory capacity to the county legislature and the office of the county executive. The board shall be a source of communication and information to support a unified development of the fire service. The board will be cognizant and supportive of all Orange County firematic activities to include fire prevention, arson awareness, detection, communications, and hazardous materials. So they do important work. I would hate to see it held up if it doesn't have to be. And you have time between now and I don't know when your meeting is. Early in March, I guess, right?
So I have a question.
Yeah,
Okay,
what's
so-
clear, Sean?
So we want to interview them, do we normally interview?
No, never have. I go back to the 1980s, I'm old.
I was just curious, I didn't know if that was just a.
And I understand that is an irregular thing, but I'm thorough individual and I would like to. meet these
Anyone,
individuals.
anybody in this committee, in the legislature, can call any one of these individuals that you want to call. So what I'm saying is, why delay moving these forward when you have time between now and the meeting to make those interviews?
Well, just for Betsy, is there a way we could individually vote on these? Because I'm just gonna be transparent, there's one person on here that I wouldn't support at all to be on this
Absolutely. So,
advisory board.
yeah, so, the committee can make a motion to separate the votes and vote individually for the, summit.
I'm sorry, you said advisory, but where is that? That's your second.
That, this is for the fire advisory board.
So you're saying you want to break it down?
Correct, and vote individually on each of these people.
Paul, you want to amend the motion?
Hmm?
You want to amend your motion to do that?
Break it
Make a
down.
motion.
Yeah, you did.
You need to make.
I made a second, but if you're gonna make a motion, you need somebody to second.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't have to have done the second.
Okay.
There we go.
excellent.
A motion to amend how we vote on this
Yes,
to be individual.
yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, I make a motion to amend the legislative request to vote for each of these appointments and reappointments individually.
Can I get a second? Do you want to do a roll call vote for this?
Yes, roll call.
Okay,
Should we call out the name in the sheet for each one first?
yeah, I think we'll do it one by one and then we'll do roll call for each one. That's how we'll do this. Vote on the motion.
No, we have to vote on the motion
Oh,
first.
yeah, sorry, I think we're getting ourselves. So can we vote on the motion as a roll call vote, vote on the motion to do this?
Oh, the motion?
So, yeah, okay. All in favor?
No.
No,
we're doing-
roll call for the.
Sorry.
We good?
Yeah.
Carter,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes,
Bessie,
Yes.
Riskevich,
Yes.
Rivella,
Yes.
Fagion,
Yes.
Yes. That wasn't necessary, okay. Are we good to proceed?
yeah, so now we will vote on them individually. I guess.
Okay, and can I just read the names out and then we do a roll vote individually, or should we just do a voice vote?
You could do voice vote for each one individually.
Okay, let's do the voice vote then, in the interest of time. So first up is Kay Duggan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. M Hunt? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes. G Ferguson,
Opposed.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
D Sullivan? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? M Rowe, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. P Graham, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Try this one again. LeBog Glenn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. B Petrick, All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. D. Smith, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. T. Reynolds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. P. Polar, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes. Okay,
So what was the story with Ferguson? Is that passed or not?
I believe it's
I
passed.
passed it
Five,
tonight.
two.
Okay,
To be determined session.
we're all good.
All right, good to go. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
All righty, second on our agenda, Paulding Sheriff's Department, I believe represented today by, Under Sheriff, Mallard. Request to appropriate funds in the amount of $750,000 from the Community Oriented Policing Service, abbreviated by as COPS, to create 6 grant-funded deputy sheriff positions. The positions will automatically be abolished upon the cancellation of grant funding, legislative request 018.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. What was yours?
Thank you.
Hello again.
Hello again. Good to see you. So we've already talked about this, I know, earlier this week in personnel and compensation, and we spoke about this back last year when the funds were initially accepted. So just to reiterate briefly for those who are not familiar with the COPS program, this is a competitive federal award program, and the purpose of it is to provide funding directly to law enforcement agencies to hire additional officers to increase community policing and crime prevention efforts. And the way that we do this with this grant is by creating, developing, and continuing programs that are built to foster cooperation and collaboration within communities. Since 2023, when Paul Arteta was elected, that's what we've done. Pretty much every program that we've brought forward are probably the most progressive that you're going to see in New York State. We've brought forward the Fly Car, which we've just expanded to a second vehicle and 2 additional EMTs. So now we can deploy those vehicles in more than one municipality each month. We have started the Building Bridges program, working with YAP and other local organizations within the city of Newburgh to work with young adults who have been affected negatively and impacted negatively by gun violence. We've started, we're working in conjunction with HR to build the Law Enforcement Associate Program, which is an apprenticeship program to try to break away from the confines of civil service hiring, trying to reach a wider net and draw in young people who maybe didn't have the opportunity to go to college and cannot at this time meet the qualifications. We're creating a civilian position that would lead into a pathway for promotion to becoming a deputy sheriff. We've started the commercial vehicle enforcement program, which we talk about every month here, taking dangerous vehicles off the roadways in Orange County. We've started the STRIVE program, which is an initiative started by the state to combat domestic violence in Orange County. We've started the OPTAC program, which is the Threat Assessment Management Team, which we're going to talk about later in this meeting when we get to our highlight for the month. And that's for basically, if you see something, say something type of style of program, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. And also building up our robust training program. Last month, I know we talked about the grants that we just accepted to basically increase our training for de-escalation techniques. We talked about that as well. So that's really what the program is for. That's what the COPS program is for, so that we can roll out these programs on a more permanent basis and on a daily basis.
Excellent. And I know this was, discussed in the committee meeting yesterday for
Yes.
personnel. So I think all my questions on this are answered. Any questions from my colleagues? Legislator Carter?
Hey, so when I say community, when I hear community, a lot of the programs are more so industry, like just actually commingling with the community. Do we have any upcoming programs that are more driven in that arena as opposed to just the ones that you stated, more non-structural, like, just meeting and greeting and being out in the community?
A lot of these programs are going to include that. So the OPTAC program, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, the Threat Assessment Management Program, the next phase, now that we've done most of the training phase as far as getting our trainers trained, in the spring, we'll start rolling that out into the public awareness phase. And we're going to be doing a lot of community outreach programs. We're going to have informational tables set up along the Heritage Trail. We'll be out at the some of the county parks. We'll have a table at the farmers market. So we're planning on doing a lot of outreach with that. The Law Enforcement Associates Program, when the time comes that we start the recruitment efforts for that, I haven't decided how that's going to go yet. I got to talk to the sheriff because it's a brand new program. But my plan is to do outreach with youth programs around the county and in different areas of the county. I don't know what that's gonna look like yet because we haven't quite solidified all the civil service aspects of it. We're working with HR on that right now. I'm actually meeting with them next week. We're gonna look to start the recruitment hopefully in the spring for that. The STRIVE program, it is about basically combating domestic violence, but it is very community driven because we have a full-time investigator assigned to that. And he's working directly with Fearless, the family courts, and victim services. That's going to be his role. Obviously, the CBE, it's not necessarily a community engagement, but it is because it keeps everybody, getting safely where they want to go, not getting, creamed by commercial vehicles that shouldn't be on the roads. So I suppose that. And then building bridges, obviously, is working with youth anyway, and community programs within the city of Newburgh. But we're also very open to other programs if you have ideas. And the sheriff also has ideas too, but I said, can you finish these first, please? So that's, he has other ideas too, but we're very open to any other community programs that you think would be good. We do also have a junior police academy. We rolled that out last year. It was filled instantly as soon as we put out the applications. And I did talk to the sheriff a little bit about trying to do something over in the city of Newburgh area. A satellite program of that, because I know the transportation is an issue there. Many families don't have the ability to get towards the Goshen area. So right now we're kind of in the fact-finding stages, looking for a location. I've spoken already to legal about it, told them we have that interest. So again, we're looking at doing that as well. So we're very open to anything community-based.
The recruitment, are we looking at the high schools as well?
For law enforcement associates, yes. To take the police test, they have to be a little bit older than that because you can't carry the weapon until you're 21. But this program is, we are going to be targeting high school graduates because they can be a law enforcement associate for a couple of years and then work their way into becoming deputy sheriff. So we're looking at people who are 18, 19.
Right, because they can take the test. How long is the wait list for the test? Like if they take it, the criteria maybe take the test at 8, but they can get appointed at 20 or 21. Is that
Yes.
how long is the list about?
I'd have to ask HR exactly what the age is that they can take it. I think it might be 19, and then you have to be 21 and a half at the time of appointment. I don't know the exact age. I think that's what it is. But I can confirm that with HR.
That's all I'm saying.
No, all good to you. Any other questions? All right. All right, all in favor? Opposed? All right, passes. Great, thank you guys so much. Good seeing you over here. Okey-doke.
Did you want to do the report?
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Totally forgot about that. It's been a day, guys. I apologize. So let's go to corrections reports and the sheriff's report. So first, the corrections report. Love to hear the readout there.
Okay, good afternoon. So for the month of January, our average daily population was 457. Currently, we have 21 vacancies. We are in the process now of doing backgrounds to get another academy class, hopefully going by the end of March. If we can get 21, that would be fabulous, but recruitment is a little bit of an issue in corrections, law enforcement general, yes. And our monthly revenue for boarders in the jail is $1,174,000.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Question, the layoffs that happened last year, in the correction department, right?
Yes.
Were you successful on, receive any individuals that lost their job?
Some of the problems were that Orange County can't take a lateral transfer.
Okay.
So the correctional officers that we did employ had to take our test and
Yes.
then get hired that way.
Fair enough, thank you.
Any other questions on that? Awesome. Next, moving on to the sheriff's report.
That's okay.
Sorry, good to go. Thank you.
So this month we're highlighting the OCTAC program, which is we like acronyms in this line of work. And sometimes I have to write them down and I can't remember them all.
Sure.
But this is the Orange County Threat Assessment Committee. So this program is a statewide program, or it's a statewide mandate essentially. It was in response to the shooting at the Tops Friendly Market in Buffalo back in May of 2022. In response to that, Governor Hochul issued Executive Order 18, and it directed each county to create a threat assessment team. We've been working on this now for about 2 years, and actually thank you all for accepting the funds back in 2023 so that we could create this program. And Sheriff, thanks you as well. We're kind of really ready now and at the point where we can roll this out publicly, although we have been operational and taking referrals. But just to kind of explain what it is for, it's essentially a see something, say something model. That's essentially what it is. But it's kind of going under the idea that, you know, violence doesn't usually happen instantly. It's something that develops over time. And there are often, you know, warning signs that come up to that, and people don't really know what to do about it. That's a very common theme in a lot of these, like, you know, tragedies that happen. And that's what this threat assessment team is. It's going to basically create a system and a vehicle that can help people who see these things address them. This is a you know, disciplinary team that includes law enforcement, mental health professionals, educators, legal experts, and other stakeholders within the community. It's overseen by the Sheriff's Office. We've had a lot of input over the last 2 years as we've built this. BOCES is a core partner. Also, Carol Pearson, the County Attorney's Office, has been instrumental in helping us develop the policies to ensure that all of these different entities are working ethically and under, you know, legal restrictions. So that's been a big part in developing the program as well. I also brought here Sergeant Warden. We have now one of our lieutenants who oversees the grant portion of this, and he's now a certified master trainer to teach. What is the course called?
It's from Enter, the National Threat Evaluation and Reporting Program Office. That's basically they develop the training for everybody, not just in Orange County or New York, but across the nation. So they actually give trainings throughout the nation every year that people from these teams can go to, learn the topics, and then teach their community, bring that back to the community.
Could you state that again?
It's the National Threat Evaluation and Reporting Program Office, and that's through the U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
Thank you.
So we already have one member that is a master trainer. Sergeant Warden was just accepted into the program, so he'll be down in Philadelphia receiving that certification. Then when he returns, he'll start training our entire staff, including civilians, in this threat assessment method. And then we are also going to be having the classes at the 911 center so we can make them large. We're going to be inviting people from emergency services, other police departments. We've already talked to the Police Chiefs Association about this program. We're going to invite probation. They're also involved in the team as well. And I think eventually the plan is to open it up to civilians, maybe to certain county department heads, other maybe appropriate stakeholders that might want to come and learn about this tool and how to assess these things. Because it's basically these incidents, when these things happen, they're usually following a detectable pattern. And this whole program is about identifying the precursors to violence, assessing them, and then connecting them with the services that might help stop that from happening before it happens. It's hard to kind of give any examples of it because we do have cases that are being evaluated now, but because of privacy, these are not criminal cases. I can't speak too specifically about them, but to kind of just give an example in a very broad term. There was another county that also has an operating threat assessment team. They had a person who I believe was employed by the county who coworkers, whatever, were concerned about some of his behavior. Their, I believe, mental health office, which is our mental health office is a core member of our team, reached out to our county team and said, this individual does reside in your county, and these are some of the concerns about his behavior that seems to be escalating. Our team did some workups. They asked the local PD within this county to see if they could go do a welfare check on this individual. They did, and also had concerns when they went there, spoke with the family. The family was concerned about some of the behavior that was escalating. The individual was showing violent ideations, deep-seated hatred towards women, and other extreme beliefs. But they didn't feel that they had enough, I think, to take this person into custody under mental health and hygiene laws. And so they were a little bit stuck there. So they reached back out to the team and were connected with Orange County Mental Health. And with the work together, they were able to build enough credible information, and they were able to take this person into custody under mental health and hygiene and connect that person with the appropriate services. And then from there, we monitor this in an ongoing way. And that could be in a lot of ways. It could be with continuing contact and work with the family, continuing connection with social services that the person might need. If they're a veteran, maybe with veteran affairs, it's whatever is appropriate. and then we kind of go from there. But I think right now we have 6 cases that we're working on, something like that. And they come from different things, from schools, sometimes from other county teams, from within the county. We've gotten referrals from county agencies. So this is kind of the basic idea of how this is going to work. And then, like I said, after we're in the spring, we're going to start rolling out all of the actual training to our members. And then beyond that, we're going to start the public awareness program where you will see us out, engaging with the community and telling them about the program and how they can contact the program. There is a website and a phone number. Next week, we are having a press conference at the sheriff's office to roll this out. You've all been invited. I did include the invitation there, and we'd love to see you all there because, like I said, you did vote in the funds to create this program, and I think it's really important.
Perfect. You actually answered all the questions I had.
Okay, if you have more, you can call me. You have my
Absolutely.
number.
Thanks.
And also, Sergeant Warren is here today too, if you have other questions. He can probably speak more specifically about the team.
That'd be great. Love to hear it. Sorry. Thanks so much. Any questions from my colleagues?
Do you need us to do something?
I think that there is an email there, if you don't mind, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, sorry, I just wanted to highlight that Under Sheriff Mallard gave me a wonderful tour of the county jail, and I appreciate your hospitality and my knowledge that you're working. So on the record and public, I want to say thank you.
I think you and I will be in touch soon to set something up. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Next on our agenda here, we have Pete Sriviano, Commissioner, Department of Emergency Services, and all the deputies, and I think they're all here today, if I'm not mistaken.
They are,
Most of
yes.
them? So Robert Doss, Deputy Commissioner, Emergency Services, Police Liaison Gregory Schmidt, Deputy Commissioner, Emergency Service Communications. Then we have Vinny Tancaselli, Deputy Commissioner, Fire Services, Arthur Warden, Deputy Commissioner, Emergency Management. Welcome all of you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
First thing on the agenda, a request to accept and appropriate emergency services fiscal year 2026, New York State Office of Mental Health and Your Care is Up grant funds for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. Orange County's Emergency Services Police Liaison Services Program, using the funding to support the implementations of CARES Up and achieve the anticipated outcomes aimed at improving mental health and wellness for the uniformed personnel in the amount of $62,500. Thank you for request 022.
So moved.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody. I'll give a brief overview of the program. Phil Salinardi, we call him Sal. He's currently here in the back. He is our peer support wellness coordinator for our first responders here in Orange County. For the legislators that have been here last year, they're aware of this program. We started about a year ago. Over the course of 1 year, Sal had over 170 initial contacts with our first responders here in the county. Each discipline, the fire, EMS, our dispatchers, and the law enforcement all have peer support. And the goal here in the county is to create an environment where it's okay not to be okay. And we've been preaching that. We've been having seminars on this. We've been having trainings. And we are very proud of the program that we established here. I think it's truly one of a kind in the state. I'll turn it over to Deputy Commissioner Doss in a minute to kind of expound on the CARES Up grant itself. But we've been on phone calls with New York State, and they are not aware of another program that is geared in the way that we currently roll it out. There are law enforcement peer support programs. Sal has a background with that with the state police as the regional employee assistance program coordinator. But there's really no other county that is doing it the way that we're doing it, where we're including all disciplines. So even though EMS is not necessarily a recipient of this grant, they will not be left in the dust on this. They are very much included with our program. Deputy Commissioner for EMS, Rich Willie, is here. And I'll let Rob, maybe you could touch on a little bit of the grant itself, please.
Sure. So we received the same amount of funding last year, the $216,725. It was really a 2-year grant, but they make you accept the money each year. So we received that same amount of money this year. My division, the Police Services Division, received $62,500. Some of the background, for those who weren't here last year, it's important that you understand how important this program is to our first responders. Many of them had no knowledge of what peer support even was. So we've really broken that threshold And again, the program's all confidential. We have a policy and we've trained up a number of individuals across disciplines, and a total of 29 individuals from 911, dispatchers, EMS, fire, and police. So we're very proud of that. A lot of the funding last year went to that training, to pay for that training, and to bring them up to the level of support that we need them to be at, to be on our team. We were fortunate, many of the fire departments, EMS agencies, police departments are allowing their staff to be on our team on a voluntary basis. So we're very proud of that. So again, a confidential program, so I can't really go into the specifics, but what I can tell you is just last year alone, our peer support team was able to assist with referrals of 342 individuals. So that's potentially 342 lives that were helped by our program. And when I say helped by our program, and to touch on this year as well, we've had 67 referrals this year already. And when I say help, what I mean is whether it be a critical incident debrief after some sort of big incident might have happened that might have been traumatic for our first responders. And again, this even covers our 911 dispatchers because they take very traumatic calls on the phone and it does affect them. So we refer them to those debriefs so they can talk about things with their peers, very important. General counseling, we also help provide that. Assistance for higher level care. Sometimes it's beyond what our peer support team can provide, but we have those contacts in the community where we know where to send these individuals for the appropriate care. And that's extremely important. That's a big part. We could also do mental health referrals, another big part, and we could also assist with substance abuse disorders. And that includes gambling as well, which I was surprised to. So that said, I'm here to talk more about the Police Services Division, but I'm going to outline what our plans are for this year in particular. But as you know, the program is multidisciplinary. So some of the stuff I'll speak to in bullet points is mostly multidisciplinary. So you might hear it again if you ask the other deputy commissioners. So as far as 2026, what we have planned for this money is to continue training for our peer team, right? It's important. One of the real big trainings we're looking to do is a suicide awareness, prevention, and post-vention training. As you're well aware, I'm sure, suicide in the first responder community is really a terrible thing. The numbers are high. We're trying to make sure that Orange County doesn't have any more suicides with our first responders. We did have at least one last year that we're aware of. So it does happen locally, and that's what we're up against to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. Some of the other things I'll highlight, and I can go into more detail if you like, but in the interest of time, I'll just kind of outline some of the things we're going to be doing. So I mentioned the training, and we're going to have some first responder family fun nights where first responders can come out with their families, their husbands, their wives, their children. We did some of those last year as well, but we're looking at this year is using the Castle in Chester, which is a very big facility, can handle big groups, and a lot of entertainment, a lot of fun to be had there. Renegades game where all the first responders can get together, go to Renegades game, and some events at the county parks would be also a great idea that we're looking at doing. We're looking at doing a first responder health and wellness fair where first responders from all over the county can come to our building at the 911 center and be able to learn about a lot of different things that are offered in the community here and to be able to help them. And that's bringing in local businesses and therapists and different things, just financial planners and the like. We're also focusing on nutrition, exercise, and sleep. We think that's very important. That's going to be our primary focus for 2026 for our first responders. I was able to integrate South Services into the police academy to where even our new first responders, our new police officers, as they're getting trained, they're immediately told about peer support because it's important at that level that they're aware. And he also goes back upon completion of the police academy to reiterate the points, and he goes into even more detail. So that's been a fantastic thing we've accomplished. We're also held a wellness and resiliency conference last year at a venue in the county. Huge success. We had a great keynote speaker there to speak to our first responders. We're going to be holding our second annual conference in 2026. Looking forward to that. Some of the other uses of the money, we want to provide a uniform shirt and jacket to our peer team so that when they go to a critical incident debrief, you know who's on the team and how to identify them. If sometimes they have to call individuals out for some special services or things, everybody's going to know who's on the team and who they can go to for help. Now we're going to do some handouts. We also support the trunk or treat that we hold annually at the 911 Center for our community's children. We're going to supplement some more gym equipment. One of the things we were able to do, we're very proud of, we're going to be opening a gym for our first responders at the 911 Center. We were able to fund that equipment and furnish that through the grant. So we're going to supplement some more equipment with this money from this year. And one of the other things that we've identified to be very important, we want to expand our outreach. While the program always does include retired law enforcement members, we want to expand that and make that more well-known with the retired community to be able to know that they're eligible for our services as well, and so are their families. So we want to expand that. We're looking at expanding our team, possibly even with some retired people being trained up to the same level as everybody else. So that's just some of the highlights that we're doing this year. As you can see, the money's going to be very well spent. And that's just the police services money. And some of that is combined with the other divisions that received.
Oh, excellent. I know Legislator Carter had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So when you say first responders, that Orange County itself has their own first responders, but we have a large population of first responders who do not respond that work for Orange County.
Correct.
Are these people included in these programs as well?
Absolutely.
Being
Yep.
required.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. We've even called on our partners to assist us with training, come do presentations. We've had members of the NYPD, different police agencies from all over the state, and other first responder disciplines come in and be able to help them train. But yes, so if you have, if they work in Rockland County and they're here and they need services, we will absolutely help them.
We will never say
We're
no.
not saying no to anything.
Yeah, we will never say no.
I know Chairwoman Tatel had a question, and then Legislator Ellis.
Thank you. First off, thank you very much for addressing the mental health needs of first responders in Orange County. They are often the first to see the worst. And as somebody who's been a very big proponent of mental health awareness and mental health throughout the county, I want to personally thank you for doing this, for recognizing this and bringing this program forward.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And I also want to comment that Lacey Trimble in mental health has been astronomical in helping us get this off the ground. She's done a phenomenal job, and we appreciate her support.
Yes,
Thank you.
great.
Legislator Ellis. Yeah,
Yes.
I say,
It's okay.
sorry, wrong person. Yeah,
It's all good.
it's been one of those days, guys.
First of all, let me commend both of you guys and your staff and all the other commissioners. Absolutely, mental health is the key to everybody's success. I think what I actually like, what you basically spoke about, you talked about the young welfare, but you also talked about the retired welfare. We all know when separation starts, the thought of basically they've only been doing their job, and now all of a sudden we have to make some money. And what's going on? You miss the actual staff, you miss what you do, and it's a change of life. I want to commend you, and I really just want to say that I wish the grant was more, so you could actually do more, but for what you're saying, for the amount of money, fabulous, good job.
Thank you. And we, just so the legislative committee is aware, we are in search of funds for next year. So we're actively looking for grant money. We were told CARES Up could possibly provide us about $15,000 as far as a continuation grant, should we apply for that? But we are actively looking because we want to have this supplemented for as long as we possibly can.
I think it's a fabulous program, and again, just want to voice as well. Like, thank you so much for making that happen.
It's important stuff for sure. Thank you.
And we couldn't do it without Sal. He's really the backbone.
Thank you,
Thank you, Sal.
Sal.
Any other questions on this one? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent, passes. Thank you so much. Second on the list here. Request to authorize, this is a mouthful, so bear with me here. Request to authorize Orange County to install license plate reader LPR equipment to improve public safety within New York State right of way alongside state roadways, including Interstate 84 and Interstate 86, New York 17, throughout the geographical jurisdiction of the county. The New York State Department of Transportation, New York State DOT, requires such legislative resolution or submission for the installation permit and agreement application. The goal of this LPR initiative is to enhance public safety by using proven technology to make Orange County safer. The data will help enhance first responders to act faster and have enhanced coordination during 911 related situations, during events such as missing person, Amber Alerts, hit and run crashes, threats to schools, evacuation, and emergency management support. In addition, it will also support law enforcement investigations related to terrorism, hate and bias-motivated incidences, and Governor Kathy Initiative to Combat Organized Retail Theft. These LPRs were purchased entirely with grant funding from New York State Division of Homeland Security, Emergency Services, and New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services. Legislative request 027. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Excellent. What is yours?
Sure, I'll give a brief overview, and then as it pertains to the individual grants that we received, I'll turn it over to Deputy Commissioner Doss. This program absolutely will enhance public safety here in Orange County. That is our focus. That is our mission. You all know that. It's the public safety of the residents and visitors here in Orange County. That is our number one priority. This program is going to really dovetail into our real-time 911 operation. And a lot of the key highlights that we have here, I just saw, for example, every single day I see something or I hear something on the radio where I realize that this is going to be advantageous, right? Us going to a real-time intelligence, incorporating new technology, we have to stay at the forefront of this. And programs like this will absolutely get us there. Just yesterday, there were several bulletins that came out for missing vulnerable adults. And right there, I'm thinking to myself, anytime a family member takes who has dementia and they take the family car and then they call law enforcement and they can't find their loved one, time is of the essence. And the license plate readers working, having these in conjunction with other law enforcement will help us solve things in a much quicker way. And I'm not saying crime related, it's for all facets, Amber Alerts, terrorism, and obviously this is really just a resolution so that we can put these on state roadways through DOT. But it's a really critical program. And Rob, you want to touch on the grant aspect of our application?
Sure. So we were able to apply for, there's ultimately 3 separate grants and receive money from New York State to do this. They are very excited about this. I know in speaking to DOT, they're actually excited that a county is taking the initiative to do this rather than each and every little single municipality. So in working with them, we need this resolution. A couple of things just to touch on with our program. So these cameras will be owned by Orange County. They won't be leased. The data itself will be housed in Orange County on a server in our data center. So we will control the data, where it goes, who has access. One of the biggest aspects of this is a policy and a procedure, right? We have to make sure this data is used properly. There needs to be a policy in place. The first starting point that you do for that, I've done this before, is you go to New York State DCJS. They have a model policy that the state supports. We're going to use that policy and best practice in development of our practice and in consultation with our legal department, of course, to make sure that everything is used appropriately. That said, the data is ours, so we control it. As far as retention goes, we're aware of what the retention policies are. As far as the images go of the license plates, 1 year minimum retention required by New York State. After that, they can be deleted. As far as the queries go, anytime a person goes in, a police officer or dispatcher would go into the system, it's audited, right? They have to put a reference number in there as part of what investigation or what call that license plate relates to. Who is doing that search? What license plate was searched? So that we could always go in and audit. We'll have periodic audits on that information, and we'll have random audits on that information. And that's extremely important. And it is very easy to go in and see and take an audit. So we also have the niche records management system, which is being spread out by all our law enforcement in Orange County. So we can quickly and easily go into that, or our CAD system, if a CAD number was used, to be able to see, okay, Officer Smith ran this, put this license plate query into the system. Does it relate back to that call or that report? Yes or no? And we're able to quickly and easily to make sure that it was an appropriate use. And the policy will go in and explain what appropriate uses are and what are not. Because we don't ever want to violate the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, or the 14th Amendment, which are specific and applied to this program. So we take that very serious. There's people like the Commissioner and myself. That's why we're here, to make sure that the rules.
Sure. I have a couple questions for myself, because I know you and I actually talked about this very extended conversation. But what's the time frame for installation? Is it something that requires an external power source? I mean, I know the process through DOT, takes several months to get those permits, but What's sort of time frame to actually set up the cameras? Is it like solar power? Is it infrastructure that you have to potentially get other permits to install? I'm just curious in that process for these cameras.
So most of the cameras are solar. So
Okay.
the process is a lot quicker and easier. Just simply putting a pole alongside the state highway.
Okay.
And there's just a few that are actually powered.
And what's the life frame of these cameras? How long do they, like, average lifespan for one of these?
Well, according to the manufacturer, at least 5 years.
Okay.
And again, depending on updates and batteries and things.
Sure. Yeah, just curious. Okay. First, legislator Ramos.
So I obviously see the value in this, but I do have concerns about the county amassing license plate information for people who are just traveling about and going about their business. So while it's valuable in case someone goes missing or, all those scenarios that are in legislative requests, and I hear you on like the audits and appropriate use, what measures, outside of that, will the county have in place to ensure that the privacy of the, because if you have all these cameras, you can literally start tracking where someone is coming and going. Like if someone lives in Newburgh and works in, Florida, they're probably on 84 on a daily basis, right? And like, it's just, I have concerns about surveillance and privacy because it's the reality. And like the ACLU have published something about this, particularly in New York, because New York is really heavily reliant on these kinds of cameras throughout the state. And so I'd like to know what parameters and safeguards there are to make sure that people's information are really being safeguarded and protected. And that if an external agency outside of the county was to want to come and tap into that, how is the county prepared to respond, and what would entail the county even releasing that kind of information to an entity or agency outside of the county?
It's a great question, great points. A lot of this actually came up during when we were exploring the license plate reader program. And that was really one of DOT's main stipulations, was that they were not going to allow, if the equipment was leased through a third party, we had to own the data. They were not going to allow another vendor to install a license plate reader that they maintain the data. Okay, so that was one of their main stipulations. There's obviously going to be an audit trail. This is something, the New York State Intelligence Center, I fully expect that our data would be shared with the New York State Intelligence Center. Because these are state grants, they knew that this application was being made, through the state, that this data would be shared with the New York State Intelligence Center because of the governor's initiatives, especially as it pertains to retail theft. And that the state is very much mindful of that. To your point about license plate readers, there are a lot of them. There are cameras everywhere. A lot of which we aren't currently capitalizing on at the 911 center. And I know you and I have had conversations in the past about this. I'm looking at this from, I understand where you're looking at it from, and I get it. From us, from a emergency services standpoint, we're looking at this, what's in the best interest of the residents of Orange County. And the way that we're going to utilize these LPRs is in a manner that is only in the best interest of the residents. As far as requests coming in, right, to your point about an outside agency making a request, it has to come through us. It has to be vetted by us. If we're going to share that information or share that data, it's got to be vetted. And there's an audit trail to your other point. I think that this technology is rapidly evolving. I just saw that the DA made a recent comment about how the camera systems were critical in solving that homicide that took place in Port Jervis just a couple days ago. If you look at what's happening out in Arizona right now with the missing elderly, Guthrie, cameras would be vital in solving that case. Cameras are the wave of the future. I get it. Our cell phones are tracking every movement we make. And technology is out there. There's really no avoiding it. We, from a emergency services standpoint, need to embrace it to a certain extent, but it needs to be managed, as Deputy Commissioner Doss was mentioning. It needs to be audited, and it's got to come through us. The big thing here is that we maintain that data.
Okay, so the data will exclusively be maintained by the county,
Correct.
and the request would be vetted. But there is an expectation that it will be shared with the New York State Intelligence Center.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, one second, Chairwoman Tatel, and then, I know, and then legislator Carter, please.
Is this going to be monitored in real time at the 911 center? I understand the data storage part of it. I understand the other components. I think if you said it, I apologize, I missed it, but I didn't hear you say how this will be monitored on a 24/7 basis.
So one of the concepts that we've been talking about, and we have an existing capital project, is going to a real-time 911 intelligence center, right? That's what we talked about last year. We are in the process of moving with that project. It's almost been 18 months in the making.
Yeah.
And really when we talk about intelligence analysts on the 911 floor, having access to this information in real time, having access to the license plate readers in real time, so that when a call comes in I give the example of the missing elderly because we see it all the time, the silver alerts, the dementia, taking the car. And I'll give you the normal scenario of how that plays out. You call the local police department, they respond to the residents. They say that so-and-so just took the car. They've been missing for about 2 hours. Law enforcement will go back to their precinct or barracks or station. They will then run the data through usually the Hudson Valley Crime Analysis Center, and it's behind the 8 ball. It's 2 hours ago. That car hit this license plate reader 2 hours ago. So the whole goal here is the law enforcement responds to the residents. They take the report, they call that data into the 911 center. The analyst is immediately working on that license plate. Oh, by the way, it just hit this exit right here. Law enforcement can be dispatched to try to intercept that person. Okay. Time is always of the essence with the elderly. I've seen it before with the state police. So yes, they would ultimately dovetail into this real-time 911 operation. And that would also include all the traffic cameras, accidents on 84, closures, diverting traffic, making notifications on social media, warning the public. And it's endless. It's in emergency management, it's in fire, it's in EMS, and law enforcement. So when we talk about real time, we're not talking about real time crime. We're talking about real time intelligence for our 911 operation.
Could you maybe, for public education, people who are watching or will watch this at a later date, explain the difference between these cameras and the license plate readers that are mounted on patrol cars?
Same type of concept that the cars that are on the license plate readers that are on patrol cars, they're considered roving or moving license plate readers. These are stationary license plate readers that would be strategically placed throughout the county, and pretty much there are probably hundreds of license plate readers throughout the county.
Right.
Some of which are owned by private entities, some of which are maintained by local law enforcement. The problem is nobody's monitoring it all collectively, right? So if something happens in New Windsor, it's not being monitored by Wallkill or Woodbury, and there is no central hub. And that's why we in emergency services at the 911 center need to take that initiative on. There's a break in communication with that. It's nobody's fault. It's just if New Windsor's going to do a workup on their license plate readers, they may outsource it and look at other departments, but by that time it's too late. Now, it's a different line of work if you're going to do an investigative workup on something. If you're working on a long-term investigation, or you want to find a pattern or a history, that's a different entity. That's not what we're getting in the business of. We're strictly real-time, public safety, best interest of the residents here in real time. And our technology, we need to upgrade our technology. At the end of the day, I fully expect, and I've said this in past public safety committee meetings, I fully expect that Orange County is going to be at the forefront for real-time intelligence. I believe that we will be one of the best centers in the state. I believe we will be one of the best centers in the country. I believe other counties will be coming to see how we do our operation. I believe that. I do believe that.
Senator Carter.
Sound very passionate about it.
I am very passionate.
So I just wanted to piggyback on what Legislator Rollins has said, kind of took the words out, but I just wanted to go to vetting. So long-term investigation, right? So NYPD, any other outside agency requires a warrant, if you say vet. So yes, they will be granted that automatically, if they need this information for any criminal activity or any warrants and searches, we will be in compliance and giving that material over.
Yes, they wouldn't necessarily need a warrant or a subpoena for that. Look, if they have an ongoing homicide and they're looking for a suspect that potentially is gonna place others in harm's way here in Orange County, of course, we want to be, sharing information and going about that the right way. They would put the request in, but to Deputy Commissioner Doss's point earlier, there would have to be a case attached to it, right? A case number. It would, yeah, you'd have to, correct. Yep.
What's up, Mr. Robinson?
One last question, yeah, what about foils? Is it, that's along the same lines, but different, right? Like an agency is one thing, but what if like a private citizen submits a FOIL request?
We would handle it like we handle any other FOIL request. We get them all the time at the 911 center. It could be for a 911 call, it could be for data, it could be for records. And we would go along with the FOIL request guidelines.
I do have a question because I'm not familiar how FOIL works in regards to like license plate information. Is that something that anyone can, I'm assuming like it has to be a time of day, like a specific guidelines and parameters to actually request that information to begin with. But like, how's the process differ for like a normal FOIL request, for like a police report, for example?
If they put a FOIL request in, it depends on what the request is for.
Like if they wanted to get like information about, their loved one's vehicle who was red on the highway or something.
No, I would have to discuss that with the county attorney's office.
Sure.
And come up with a policy pertaining to that. That would probably be included in the policy. And I'm sure that's probably been addressed already, where the license plate readers have been in existence for 20 years, 20 plus years, so I'm sure that this has come up.
Yeah, just to that, and I just want to make sure that we don't have like people just randomly trying to see where someone is going.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah, and that's sort of why I asked that question, just out of curiosity there. Any other questions? Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes. Thank you. All right.
You're up, Greg.
We're up C. Request to accept appropriate emergency services for physical. Wait, let me start over. Request to accept and appropriate emergency services fiscal year 2026 New York State Office of Mental Health New York CARES Up grant funds for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. Orange County Emergency Services 911 proposes using funding to support the implementation of CARES Up and achieve the anticipated outcomes aimed at improving mental health and wellness for uniformed personnel in the amount of $41,475. Legislative request 023.
So moved.
All right, floor is yours.
And I know, we talked about this obviously extensively, and this is just applicable for our dispatchers. And when I don't want to say only our dispatchers do an outstanding job, awesome job. They need this more than anybody else. I truly believe that they really have some very difficult calls. So it's the same premise with the CARES Up grant, same thing, providing the mental health support.
And I know, like you said, you and I had a very long conversation about this in specific, and I'm very supportive of these kind of initiatives. Having family members in law enforcement who have mental health related issues. So really excited to support this. Any other questions around this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes. Great, thank you. That's right. So Part D, request to accept and appropriate New York State Emergency Services IP network, ESINet readiness grant program funds in the amount of $689,655. The program is administered by the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services and provides state support for Orange County to enhance its public safety operations by strengthening communications infrastructure, which is critical in emergency situations, and ensures that public safety personnel are prepared as they respond to calls for service. Orange County Emergency 911 will use funds to connect fiber optic cable-based emergency services IP networks. ESI nets, configuration of the existing microwave connection between two locations, and replacement of UPS backup system. Performance period for the ESI net readiness grant program will be 5 years, January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2030. Legislative request 038.
So moved.
Thank you.
Could have made that shorter, Greg.
This one was a doozy, guys. I don't know what about today is, everything is miles long, but
I'll let Deputy Commissioner Schmidt touch on this, hopefully briefly, Greg.
Yeah, it'll be pretty quick. So the state is creating a emergency services IP network, nicknamed EZNet. That's going to provide connectivity infrastructure for next generation 911. That's a newer term that you may not have heard of before. Next Gen 911 is it's going to have additional support for multimedia messages, video, automatic crash locations, notifications, and improved location accuracy, which is the most important part. All of the Next Gen 911 operation for phones will ride on the EZNet that the state is setting up. So this grant is to strengthen the related emergency communications infrastructure for that, specifically fiber microwave redundancy between sites, provide for the replacement of our UPS battery backup system for the 911 center.
from the conversation that Pete and I had, from my understanding, it's really just a fail-safe backup in case something happens with connectivity.
Yeah, we always like to have redundancy in place to make sure that if something fails, that it's critical that we can get through with 911.
Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great, passes.
Thank you.
Right, and one more. Last but not least.
Last but not least.
Gotta give me some more. All right, here we go. Request to accept and appropriate emergency services fiscal year 2026, New York State Office of Mental Health and New York Cares Up grant funds for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. Orange County Emergency Services Fire Services proposes using the funding to support the implementation of New York Cares Up and achieve the anticipated outcomes aimed at improving mental health and wellness for uniformed personnel in the amount of $112,750. Legislative request 024.
Oh, second. Thank you. Same type of premise. I'll let Deputy Commissioner Tankaselli just touch on it and how it impacts the fire services.
Right, so pretty much as Deputy Commissioner Doss explained, the programs for all the disciplines we'll be using will apply to fire services as well, all our fire departments. The reason why the amount for fire departments or fire services is a little more is just because the sheer number of firefighters we have in the county. We have an estimate between 2,000 and 2,500 firefighters countywide. You multiply that by the families that are also in these programs, and it's quite a big number. So that's why the funding is great for that. But we're looking to utilize it for education, peer support, especially in fire service. We go to the critical incidents that Commissioner Doss mentioned, and with the fire departments especially, and some things you want to think of as you're dealing with a lot of younger members too. We have junior memberships, 16 to 18, so they're unfortunately being exposed to some critical incidents as well. So, there's a lot that we want to put into there. One of the things that I'm looking forward to hosting is we're doing a conference as well on wellness for our chief officers and all our command officers. And I think that's critical is because in the volunteer fire department especially, you have people that are rising in ranks as chiefs and officers that come from varying backgrounds. Some of them don't have management experience. You're being put in a position where you're managing people. And the first line when somebody's having a problem dealing with issues, you go to their officers in the firehouse. So I think a key component is that we need to educate those officers on how to handle those situations. And especially know that the services that we can provide to them. So that's some of the areas we're in.
That's excellent. Just anecdotally, I remember when I was a volunteer fireman, had more hair and was younger, that there were a couple of calls that I remember going to where it was, some of us were like 19, 20 years old, right? Like very traumatic stuff.
Classmates sometimes.
Some classmates, there was one, I'm not going to get into the details, but number one, it's specific, it was a very young individual who was killed in a car crash. first calls I experienced, and it was difficult for a lot of us to like see that for the first time as like a 19 or 20-year-old. So really appreciate and value mental health services in this field, especially can sometimes be overlooked in a volunteer fire position. What do you see so far as the need countywide as far as counseling? Is it something that is like has increased over your time here, or I'm just really curious?
Yes, absolutely. And I think some of that is the education and the mentality change. We talked to some of our reps that are on the peer support have been in the fire service 34 years, I've been in 33 years. When I joined, and some of those members, when you were exposed to something, people having issues, you were kind of told, deal with it, get through it. That's how you taught to deal with it. I think there's been a lot more, a change in culture, where it's been more acceptable to say, hey, I'm having issues. And because of that, we're seeing a larger amount of need for this and consultations to Sal and things like that. Yeah.
Excellent. Listener Carter.
Hey, I have a question. You said 16 and 18-year-olds volunteer. Isn't the difference too older than them? Girls or some that like I can see maybe even 18. I mean, they're fine, but 16 and 17-year-olds, I'm just a little
I
concerned.
can't disagree in a lot of areas because I do, it's probably individually based on maturity of people. And, I know some 16-year-olds that are probably shouldn't be, that are not as involved or emotionally to handle things that some other ones are. A lot of our fire departments, they have safeguards in place where they try to prevent any exposure for those members. I know one where they had a fatality. Someone the chairman mentioned was a young kids that rolled up in this incident on the fire truck, and the individual had to be removed from the vehicle with extrication tools, and the chief acknowledged that and took the younger members and brought them aside to make sure they weren't exposed to it. But the state law allows it, so the fire departments use it. The benefits to it is you get the individuals at a younger age so that they have the time to go into the training and get involved early, because what we see with recruitment retentions is it's harder to get older individuals that are already in their jobs, careers, family to volunteer. So that's why they look at that age group where they can get members.
And that's the state law.
Yes.
Actually, I think I was 1920, but so I don't really remember the specifics. I'm assuming like with the permission of your parent.
Yes, your guardian has to sign. Yes, that's right. And not all fire departments. I do think, I'd say majority do accept junior members, but not all. Some.
And I know in the department that I was in, for example, like they weren't, sending like 16-year-olds into structure fires, right?
That you're not supposed to do. There are rules with the department around what they can do.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to operate extrication tools. They're not supposed to wear packs
And I've heard some horror stories to the contrary. It's not in Orange County, thank God, but in other places. But so, but generally, like, yeah, I guess my experience is very strict fire department. So.
And a lot of them do, when it comes to education, my own fire company interviewed somebody last night, and the parents were there and explained that, we look at their grades every quarter and make sure that they're keeping their grades up if they're not, and they have to take a step back. So we focus on that.
Any other questions?
No, just comment. I think a lot of individual agencies are pretty well in tune to, younger members. My daughter joined and was 17 at Green Tea. I was completely comfortable letting her. But, I think they do a great job, especially with all the sport that we go.
Any other questions, comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Awesome, passes.
I just want to introduce our new Deputy Commissioner for Emergency Management, who took over for Alan Mack, Art Warden. And we also have Deputy Commissioner Rich Willie back there for EMS, just Art, want to give a quick introduction about yourself?
Yes, hi, how are you? It's a pleasure to meet you all, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. I've lived in Orange County for the past 40 years with my family. I'm currently married, I have 3 children, attended Mystic Valley High School, graduated from actually Orange County Community College. I began my law enforcement career 22 years ago in the NYPD. I was in the NYPD for approximately 2 years before transferring to the City of Middletown Police Department. After the City of Middletown Police Department, I began my 20-year career with the New York State Police. I did 9 years on the road as a road trooper working at SP Middletown. Then I earned the rank of sergeant, went from Long Island back to Troop F. Yeah, Troop L. Where I eventually earned the rank of station commander out of SP Montgomery. I was there for approximately 3 years. After that, I earned the rank of lieutenant and I was sent to Binghamton. So I was shifting all around the state of New York. Fortunately, I was able to come back to Troop F and I became the BCI lieutenant, which is the Bureau of Criminal Investigations, where I oversaw large-scale investigations in Orange County. After Pete retired, I was fortunate enough to take his position as the Troop F Zone 2 Zone Commander, where I oversaw Rockland and Orange counties. Oversaw the daily operations of Orange County, where we had 122 troopers under my command, 23 sergeants, and was fortunate enough to work hand in hand with a lot of police departments, fire departments, EMS, and the obviously 911 center. I look forward to this career and working, hand in hand with each and every one.
Likewise. Thank you, Art.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Art. Thank you. All right, good to go?
Yeah, good to go.
Thank you.
Adjourn?
So moved.
Before we start the meeting, short break.
Sorry, this first word came